Welcome back to the Alienware Cup, where we start on time. Scheduled a 4 o'clock game, and I think we're a little bit early today. So thanks for joining us. Hopefully we won't have any delays today, but otherwise we seem to be pretty on point. We'll probably, just for the sake of it, not do the player cards today. I think Orange and IG are just famous enough.
You remember that we did them today?
That was yesterday.
No, well, it was today.
No, I don't think it was.
You just go to the bathroom and came back. What do you do? What do you do?
Hey, look, seriously.
What do you do? What do you do? What do you do?
Too many bad memories. Can we just put the camera over there? Mute Bruno. Can you mute Bruno? What's his button? Is it 2?
It's 2.
2. You're muted. You're miming and you're muted. We're going to game. Fuck this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Alienware Cup, sponsored by Alienware, and of course MasterCard, and organized by DP. What are we doing, Ben? All right, of course I'm Luminous, and I'm joined by Merlini as we're casting Invictus Gaming versus Orange Esports. This is the lower bracket. Loser go home with $3,000. This is a best of 3 series. All right, introduction is done. What do you got for us, Ben? Take us through the draft.
Sure, nothing too special here. Just same old bat ban. I think that banning bat is a smart idea. Somebody tried to not do it versus LGD China, and they just got absolutely demolished.
Somebody tried not to do it, and then they did it again the next game. So
yeah.
they learned very quickly that you do ban bat. Ban bat, and you definitely don't give it to Xiaowei. Invictus Gaming is going to grab Alchemist, who is, I want to say, the de facto hero of choice to open up a draft with for the Chinese team at the very least, because it's a hero that plays all 5 rows, 1 through 5, and plays it quite well.
Yeah, he is just way too flexible as a hero, and teams really love their farm. If you want to play greedy, any Eastern team will be like, okay, we'll take that if you have the Alchemist on your team, and they'll just happily trade away farm and just get super sacked with Alchemist and just destroy you. Not like bat destroy, just regular.
Just a regular good old destroy. I actually would like to run, or they like in general to run offensive trialings from time to time, and having an Alchemist in offensive trialing with a couple of range nukers, range slows would be fairly effective. But let's see what Orange Esports go into. They love their Windrunners, they love their Visage. Unfortunately, they take out their own Visage in the ban phase, as well as Sand King. Generally, they like to pick up their dual supports very early, because to me, that's their focal point. They play very well in the support, and that's not even pointing out about Ohio, KYXY, and Mushi, who is some of your best 1, 2, 3 row player. Very, very stable, very safe.
The way the bans have been going, though, Alchemist is usually banned out in the first phase, and if you don't take him, he's going to be picked first. And the carry pool is actually quite limited now. We see actually teams pick him up a lot earlier than before. Used to be like Shadow Demon, perhaps a Rubik very early, but now it's Alchemist. If you don't ban Life Stealer, he's going to be taken up pretty soon. Gyrocopter, pretty top tier. If you have a Shadow Demon, Anti-Mage is pretty hot shit. And then Spectre, we've seen LGD China run, I think, 3 games in a best of 3 series in a row, but after that, I have not seen him too much.
Yeah, Spectre is actually a very good combo with Darkseer, and they generally try to pick up the Darkseer quite early. And once they get it, they pick the Spectre afterwards. It's a great teamfight combo, but I don't think since Darkseer is not in the game, we're not going to see a Spectre particularly. But Lone Druid and Lifestealer, both selected by Orange Esports, a ton of tank, a ton of HP, and very reminiscent of the IG squad they like to run in the past. This is 5-6 months ago when they're dominating the Chinese scene, when they went Lifestealer, Lone Druid, Chen, and it was just every single tower being taken down. Now, of course, we are many months since that happened, and let's see what Invictus Gaming wants to pick against these 2 somewhat nerfed heroes.
I like this draft from Orange much better than Invictus Gaming already, just because Alchemist is a bit of a greedy hero, and you want to be able to punish that sort of greed, whether it's forcing Alchemist to go into a more defensive or spellcaster role with Acid Spray and Unstable Concoction and not allow him to farm out with the Grievo's Greed. I think Lifestealer is a fantastic hero for punishing him, although I have seen, I think it was Zenith, run an Alchemist and a Razor triple lane to try and counter the Lifestealer. I think that Invictus Gaming doesn't really have that creativity to run that sort of lane and shut down the Lifestealer that way, force him into the 4 or 5 role. And I think they usually run him as just a safe lane, or just a safe lane farmer. Sometimes offensive triple lane farmer if they have really strong supports, but their flexibility is a little bit lacking.
Yeah, generally when you pick up a Shadow Demon, you don't offensively tri-lane against them. I was expecting like Weaver as one of the heroes, as he matches up against Lifestealer quite well, and something like a Naga Siren, who has been a top Chinese support pick lately. Those two particular heroes give you a ton of minus armor, synergize quite well with the Acid Spray, and more importantly, that's kind of the spells you want against this kind of armor-heavy heroes, such as Lifestealer and Lone Druid.
Yeah, Naga Siren has been having fantastic success in this tournament, whether it's the solo mid in Zenith, I believe it was Ice versus G's Quap, or the support Naga Siren that we saw yesterday. Just a fantastic hero overall, great at disrupting team fights, great at locking down difficult to kill heroes with Blink or Magic Immunity or focusing down people during BKB. Also works well with minus armor strats with Alchemist, as you said before, and I'm curious to see if they will pick it up.
Yeah, of course, the net going through the Rage is very helpful. We'll talk about the ability to actually go into the Roshan pit, win any Roshan fight, or actually challenge any Roshan pit fights. But we don't see her just yet. We'll see if Invictus Gaming or Orange is going to be picking up. But I do want to point out one more time that this is not your classic Orange draft. They like to pick their supports early, and so far they got none of it. In fact, a ton of jungler being banned out on both sides as well, which is another strategy that both Orange and Invictus Gaming will like to go into. As this support pool gets more wind down, I wonder what the two support that they're going to be selecting. They do have a wide support hero pool though, so we'll have to wait and see.
I do know that Shadow Demon Lina is one of IG's favorite two support combos to run, but is not the best versus Lifestealer, just simply because he can rage dodge after the disruption hits. But again, I like the draft from Orange because I think they're well set up to win 2 out of 3 lanes, with the Lone Druid dominating most 1v1 matchups, especially seeing that they banned out the Weaver. The Darkseer's already banned out too. He doesn't really have too much trouble versus anything else. Maybe perhaps Batrider, but that's almost always taken out of the equation. And then Lifestealer, if they draft 2 proper supports, they can usually secure a lot of farm on him and not really kill the Alchemist and shut him out, but he will have a fairly difficult time farming and won't be able to play super greedy in that early game.
Jakiro being selected by Orange Esport, another fairly tanky support, high strength growth, high starting HP, and that's starting looking harder and harder for Invictus Gaming to take the fight towards Orange Esport, at least in the early game laning stage. It's hard to find any kill on these guys, right? Like Lone Druid, you say dominate most 1v1 situation. Actually does fine against 1v3 role. Lifestealer could play the safe lane, could play the off lane. Jakiro just stays back and check out Ice Path. So what does Invictus Gaming do here? You can't really win the lane stage, and all of these heroes from Orange Esport are really, really good at the mid to late game as well.
We could possibly see a Windrunner support coming out from either team. Is decent versus Lifestealer, and Jakiro's Ice Path is too low duration to sort of focus on him. But again, I think that would probably put Alchemist in a more support role because he can't really stand up in the lane if it is a Windrunner triple lane. And again, Invictus Gaming, typically they just run-of-the-mill strategies. Shadow Demon Lina Alchemist, just your very standard disrupt into double sun setup. And I don't expect them to pick anything super fancy or exotic in this third pick.
Well,
here we go.
I guess we have to take back everything we say.
Treant Protector.
What was it? A 4 on a creativity on them?
I know. Well, maybe they're taking page out of Navi's book and going with the Treant Protector. Again, they don't have their solo heroes picked yet, and if you have Treant Protector, that just makes your Alchemist so much stronger because he isn't as vulnerable to the Lifestealer open wounds just rush down, and it makes your solo stronger. But again, it has been nerfed in 6.78C, so it's only 4, 5, 6, 7 charges respectively at 1 through 4 instead of a straight flat out 7 at each of the levels. But I do have to give them props for going outside of their comfort zone, and I don't think I've ever seen them run Treant Protector.
Yeah, for those of you guys who are not really familiar with how pro teams generally run this particular heroes, the nerf to me is actually a big deal because most Treant Protectors start out the game by doing pulls on the safe camp. That means until you hit like level 3, which you won't hit it till like 4 or 5 minutes into the game because you're just pulling for neutrals, your effectiveness in terms of defending your Alchemist, for example. Thank you, Kawa. I did that on purpose so people could read the changes. But they can't? Oh. Well, somebody gotta fix that.
That's
Kawa.
Just the overlay.
Anyways. Yeah, I know. But thank for letting me know. I wasn't watching. But yeah, Treant Protector got the living armor nerfed 4, 5, 6, 7, like you pointed out.
Thank God.
And because he's jungling early, he's not going to be hitting level 7 till much later. And that's one of the inherent weakness of Treant Protector. You're supposed to use living armor and dive and get kills with them, but most teams says forget that. We'll just use living armor and keep farming with it.
Orange Esports has a lineup that can deal with living armor, though. Most of their heroes have multiple instances of damage besides Lifestealer. Lone Druid with the hero itself and the bear will pluck 2 on every hit. They have Jakiro with a liquid fire and potential dual breath for the DOT damage. Crystal Maiden, Frostbite procs more, is not just 1 instance of damage on the Frostbite. So I think they're fairly well equipped to deal with it if they want to play aggressively early, but it really depends on the 2 last solo heroes from IG.
Yeah, IG's going to pick into a Clockwork, which is a fairly decent initiation. I remember we were casting the... was it Orange versus LGD games where it was all about the initiations, and having Clockwork versus Batrider and those crazy kind of jumping back and forth game, it came down to it. Right now Orange Esports doesn't have too much initiation, though they don't really need it, right? They're saying, hey, we're going to slow siege your tower, you come at us because we're going to be the tankiest of heroes. As we do see solo mids being taken out from both sides, as both teams still need their solo mid. I guess heroes like Alchemist and Clockwork and to a lesser extent, Tree and Protector even could go on the solo mid, but I don't expect that kind of matchup.
They banned out TA, which makes me think they're going to pick a relatively weak mid hero. For example, DK can get punished heavily by a TA, and TA just straight up dominates most 1v1 matchups. Storm and Puck are already banned out. Those are the 2 primary Lifestealer bomb carries, although Quap is there sometimes. We haven't seen her too much lately. Any
possibility of Invoker for either team here? I feel that against Invictus Gaming especially, where they don't have too much early game offense, you can get away. No, they're going to go with Queen of Pain. A very, very powerful, stable laner, and to be honest, adds a ton of more mid-game power to their particular team. And you might need the actual nuke against Alchemist, Stream Protector, Clockwork, some of the tankier heroes in the game.
Yeah, IG's actually going to have a tough time drafting against the Queen of Pain. She's favored in most matchups in mid. I say it's break even versus Puck. If you get pulled sentries, you can beat a TA, and it's like okay versus Storm. But most of the other heroes, for example, Beastmaster, Dragon Knight, Alchemist, all those have relatively tough times versus the Queen of Pain, and she can shut them out or zone them out fairly early.
So what if IG pulls the Navi here and picks OD and says, hey, we lost to the OD tree combo. Can we pick the OD tree combo ourselves?
Yeah, they can just rotate Lone Druid mid, and I think with the Living Armor nerf, it won't be that bad for the Lone Druid. We saw Lone Druid just get dominated by Dendy's OD, but I mean that Living Armor has a lot to contribute to him winning that lane.
It really did, and if you rotate a Lone Druid, then your other lane gets a little bit more awkward. You have to be forced to do an offensive trialing with a Lifestealer. They're gonna go with the Gyrocopter instead, so forget about the OD. How would you lane this here? Zoe selects the Gyrocopter, so he's it's going to be playing the one row gyro, although these players sometimes like to mind game, sometimes like to swap around a little bit. So we'll have to really wait and see how they actually swap it up. Meanwhile, Mushi is going to be playing the Queen of Pain, and his Queen of Pain is quite legendary.
Yes, indeed it is. I think I like Mushi a hell of a lot more on that solo mid role. He doesn't over farm, he finds a lot of kills, and his high player skill really shines when you can outclass your opponents doing fancy stuff with Queen of Pain or Puck or TA, even though TA we haven't seen any of lately. And we actually have 2 players that are disconnected on IG. One of them has reconnected at the moment.
Yeah, we're waiting for Faith, our drafter, to get back in here. Talk about the Mushi Queen of Pain. Really a player that likes to abuse no talisman. I haven't seen it too much from any other player, but he really likes to rush a Empower threat.
He always gets pulled.
And yeah, he starts with a no talisman, and he really a lot of times go into the mid game and early game with like double no talisman. I haven't seen too many other players do it, but it's actually a fairly powerful build, especially if you just want mid game stats, early game damage, and of course Monopool is not to be a forgotten factor on Queen of Pain. Let's see if he's going to be doing it this game. Of course, our Orange Esport on the dial here. Mushi is going to be playing solo mid Queen of Pain. Seems like it's going to be offensive trial here. And that's going to be playing the Crystal Maiden, Ohio, going on the Blonde lane, on the Lifestealer. And the last support is going to be Extinct on the Jakiro. KY Squire most likely is going to be playing one row on the Lone Druid, going to the safe lane up top.
And on the side of Team Rating, we have the reigning TI2 defending champions. Faith on the Shadow Demon, Joe on the farming Gyrocopter, part of the triple lane. The last remaining member of the triple lane is Chuan on that Tree and Protector, YYF on the solo offlane Clockwork, and last but not least we have Ferrari, or what was it that Ken called it?
You mean Habit?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted us to call him 车430, which means car 430.
On the solo mid Alchemist. Looks like he will be rushing that bottle. Did he get pulled? Yes, he did get pulled a set of Tango, so he'll be able to get that bottle relatively easily if he gets that level 1 acid spray.
Actually, it's going to be KYXY so far standing on the mid, although I don't think it's going to be... Queen of Pain, look at Mushi's build. Generally, you pull this guy, but...
Wow, I don't think I've ever seen him not get pulled.
Right.
This is absurd.
First of all, he didn't get pulled, and second of all, what is this starting item build? This is some...
The 5 GG branch build?
5 GG branches. This takes me back to the days of Yafit solo mid on Shadow Fiend, where you just get like circulate 4 GG branches and like 2 tangos, but... Yeah, this is something definitely very different. Any particular advantages?
I've seen it versus a TA before, where you just play hyper aggressively early and trying to lay the bottle as long as possible and prevent them from farming up that 250 gold to get that last 600. But with Queen of Pain, you're not really in danger of dying to a melee hero. You may be in danger of dying to like a Puck, but very early versus a relatively weak melee hero like Alchemist, you can just play on the opposite side of creeps, trade harass, and if they don't go 2 sets of regen, you just trade your first flask for the first set of tangos and then continue to play hyper aggressive, and they're forced to back just because you have that 2 sets of regen. But it is difficult in the acid spray when we see Mushi already going pretty far up on 430, but there's a living armor spam.
Yeah, well, I want to call it spam just yet. That's the first one in the game. But yeah, just to kind of echo your point, normally start with the no talisman, which definitely gives you more damage than the 5 GG branch build, but particularly it does give you somewhat of a less tanky power or less stats for you to work with. So
yeah, I would prefer the no talisman build in this situation just because of living armor. It's just going to be a farm fest in the middle, and unless there's a big mistake by Ferrari, I don't think he's going to die, even with constant pressure with level 2 Shadow Strike or just right clicks from the Queen of Pain. The living armor is often too strong to burst through, especially with Bottle Crow.
Yeah, I guess it's really just a conscious decision being made by Orange Esports. We see pooling on their solo mid almost 95% of pro games. There is no pooling here. And if you look at the Jakiro, 6 tangles and a salve. Crystal Maiden most likely has already used one of her salve or is going to be sharing some regen from the Jakiro. Are they trying to play a kind of wear you down game on this long lane against IG? It seems really hard to do against a Treant Protector.
It seems very hard to do also versus a 2 range lineup. Like Gyrocopter can just stand at range, and it's very hard for Lifestealer to just feast away here and there and wear you down that way. But they are going to be taking a lot of damage from Zoe already skilling that up at level 1, and you really don't want to be in the compromising position to get gone on by Shadow Team, but they don't really have a good kill potential here. Disrupt into, a Leech Seed perhaps? Or
Disrupt
just a
into
couple
a Rocket
right
Barrage. If the folding hits, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, they do have Lifestealer though, and if they use Disrupt offensively, they're not going to be able to save Zoe if he comes into melee range, and that's why I'm really scared for their combo if they want to play aggressively. I think IG just wants to just farm it up with Zoe, just harass him down with Flat Cannon, and eventually they'll run out of regeneration. Flat Cannon will be level 2 or 3, and once they're low enough, perhaps you can make a go on them. But it's really just passive farm from both of from this safe lane, triple lane. Yeah,
although Orange Esports definitely have the capability to actually go on for the offensive. Crystal Maiden could kind of initiate with the Nova once they hit level 2, and of course Extinct could follow up with a barrage of spells. Meanwhile, Lifestealer just walking in and do a ton of right clicks. It's going to be somewhat difficult to do it against Living Armor, as well as the possibility of a disruption. So both teams should be mostly okay, although if I want to really get pinned down and give the advantage to somebody, it's going to be Orange Esports.
Yes, and especially with this ward being it's not at the magic bus, but it does block the pull spawn, and these supports aren't strong enough to take out any of the other camps. One of them is Centaur, and one of them's the Hellbear Smashers. Shadow Demon, without maybe 2 or 3 points in poison, won't be able to do it, and Treant most certainly cannot without the help of pooling. So this is going to hurt IG a lot, especially with the living armor nerf. Chuan may be level 1 or 2, 4 or 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and again, level is the name of the game here, at least for him. But back in the mid lane here, it looks like Ferrari's still doing okay, although not much time has passed. How's the top lane been doing? In Clockwork, getting a little bit of help from that living armor, but KYXY not only zoning him out, also right next to the creeps and farming away.
Yep, no Orb of Venom on it yet. This is very atypical versus a melee hero, but it looks like he does have around 275 gold right now, and there is the Orb of Venom. You really need that to put a lot of pressure out on the Clockwork. You can punish him very hard as a melee hero, especially once you hit level 5 on the Lone Druid, and YYF just hit level 2, so KYXY is doing a fantastic job up top, and in middle, Mushi is dominating.
As you expect, right? On a Queen of Pain versus Alchemist matchup, as you expect out of Mushi,
Who needs a no talisman for right click damage?
I mean, the animation is just so clean as a range support, one of the highest kind of damage range support or not support, range intelligence hero on the mid lane. And yeah, just really getting the deny in, and looks like we are having a series of connections and technical difficulties. We do apologize for them, but really nothing we could do here at the studio about them.
So Gyrocopter went for early ring of protection. This could mean early Trinkles. I don't think Trinkles are necessarily the best item choice. I probably would go for Aquila first, just because.
Yep, it's gonna be a Basilius.
Yeah, he's gonna get harassed a little bit, but I think he needs phase boots really early too, just so he can run away from the open runes if they decide to go on him. And Gyrocopter is really the target that you want to kill in this lane. And on the flip side, IG can't really kill a Lifestealer. They simply don't have enough lockdown. They don't have any lockdown, actually. No stuns besides Homing Missile, which Joe has not picked up yet, and he can just raise through the rocket barrage damage. So the Lifestealer is probably going to rush phase boots and try and play offensively as possible on the Gyrocopter and try and keep the supports in lane so that they can't stack, they can't pull, they can't go help out their mid lane. And because of that, I think Orange has the early game advantage.
Double damage gets secure on the mid lane here. Smooshi rotates back in. Gotta be careful if you're 430. I think you could even make it go, even though Alchemist full HP at level 4, with a level 2 Straddle Strike and a Blink to follow up with the double damage, could definitely do a ton of harassment. Not gonna make any go just yet, and the double damage will get compromised. 430 will stay back, and Bottle Crow and Acid Spray.
How do you feel overall about IG's ability to recover from a bad early game? Just because looking at it right now, they're winning all 3 lanes. Lifestealer is second in CS, Alchemist has gotten 10 creeps denied versus them, and Queen of Pain has a fair amount of last hits, and Lone Druid is dominating the Clockwork up top. And we see teams like LGD China just fantastic at coming back, playing a little bit passively, and being efficient around the map, even after they're behind. But how does IG stack up in that regard?
Well, normally I say, hey, you got an Alchemist, you could go pretty late. We'll talk about that later. It's going to be Ice Path initiation against Faith. Also, Mig is being gone upon. Ferrari should be fine since Living Armor came out. And looks like they're going to turn around on the bot lane. Offensive disruption against Crystal Maiden. Zoe getting in position. They're going to focus on Net. And Net, is he going to die? Flat Cannon. Oh, actually, it's a 2 illusions from the Crystal Maiden. Going to take the first spot. And Faith doing a good job. We talked about the lanes being won here. All of them for Orange Esports. IG strikes back on the bot lane. And, well, suddenly, things are looking a little bit better because, well, maybe not as though it's going to get gone upon, but Living Armor should fly dude, and he should be available. Nova's going to fly dude. Any defensive disruption, it's going to come up right now. Ohio getting right-click upon. Where the hell is Twine coming in? There is a Living Armor finally coming in, and you just cannot dive against Living Armor. I think he will still eventually go down, but hey, you kill the enemy carry, you got the experience. Even your support survived through that, so all going pretty well here for IG.
And that magic stick really paying off for the Gyrocopter. Rocket Barrage did a ton of damage. Lifestealer also receiving a nerf in the most recent patch with that Rage Code. And I don't actually know if it played a factor in that. I was actually watching Mushi mid with the DD going on Ferrari, and they didn't have Living Armor the first time they engaged on Orange.
Are you talking about the bot or
on the
lane?
bottom?
Yeah. So the fact that they did a very good job. Generally, when you want to engage on the Living Armor team, you force out a Living Armor on one lane, and then you make the go on the other lane. It was kind of very well concocted by Orange Esports. It wasn't even enough, thanks to the Shadow Demon disruption, to delay things longer. And once you get the delay off, it's very quite effective. YYF eating a Living Armor up top, trying to zone out KYXY, but he is just handily losing the lane. Even though the first blood as well as the second blood went towards IG, they're still losing, to be honest, I want to say every single lane.
I think that it would be a good idea for Mushi to rotate bottom simply because they don't really have the capability to deal with them. Yeah, you have Living Armor, but it doesn't really handle that well against the mass burst damage from the Queen of Pain. If she rotated bottom, she could do a lot of work, but IG's already well prepared for that. Dropping wards before the first nighttime hits on the bottom rune and near the bottom tower, so they are completely ready for rotation. I don't expect it.
Crystal Maiden's going to be in a little bit of trouble as Rocket Barrage will fly to the next, trying to tank a little bit of that damage. Net about down to a quarter health, and he's going to go down to a couple supports. Shadow Demons on a killing spree. Those illusions and those early game disruption plus poison doing a little bit of work. In fact, he doesn't even have Soul Catcher. Any thoughts on this? Because Soul Catcher plus Rocket Barrage, one of the highest early game combo, but he's just taking poisons and he's actually taking a ton of kills.
It's not a bad choice versus a lifestealer simply because of rage, and then after that you can keep stacking poisons while you're moving after the majority of the burst has already happened. Oh, on top lane.
Yeah, looks like KYXY in a little bit of trouble. No mana for the disruption here. Nice bear micro, and of course Orb of Venom on the bear. In fact, they're going to try to focus on the bear. When you kill this bear, you do get a little bit of extra damage against the actual hero, but KYXY very, very tanky. Not only did he draw a TP, and in fact 3 or 4 heroes off the lane, in fact he's actually taking a ton of time from IG. He's going to survive and get to fight another day as well. I think Orange Esport definitely got a better end of that quote-unquote engagement.
Yeah, and YYF forced to go back home to heal, and now bottom lane is still 2v3, but the problem is Zoe is still finding a lot of farm. He is ahead in the lifestealer in CS, and you actually don't usually expect to win the tree and triple lane, but this is really just the strength. Oh,
kind of news going on Zoe, but here comes a living armor. Will that be enough against Ohio? Right click coming in, the Nova comes in, Magic Stick as well, and should it be enough? Clockwork Hook after a TP, and great engagement, and Ohio will go down. They threw everything against Zoe, and that was a nerfed living armor. So if you were playing Dota 2, 3, 4, 5 days ago, my god, that spell is just absolutely broken.
Yeah, that Magic Stick's certainly paying off for him. I mean, Gyrocopter is just such an incredible hero. He'll get off like 2 or 3 rocket barrages with that living armor before he dies, and see him almost died in that whole engagement.
And how good was the Ring of Besaidus? We generally don't talk about that item too much early game, but the +3 armor definitely did every bit of work possible there, helping him survive. And despite Mushi winning so hard in the mid lane, look at his design, 36-21. Alchemist shit handily is losing the lane, but all things considered, IG is up by 3 kills.
Yeah, and the big factor is Queen of Pain has been forced to sit mid because Acid Spray constantly pushes the tower, and you don't want your tower to take unnecessary damage, especially without living armor to heal it up. And Mushi is just pretty content to sit in middle. We talked about his problem of somewhat over farming sometimes, and they really need to try and shut down Zoe in this early game.
Yeah, I agree. Queen of Pain is going to be getting a invisibility rune. We saw the matchup yesterday of Beastmaster versus Queen of Pain. And Queen of Pain, I think, handled by G, ganked very, very aggressively all over the map. But as a result, he lost that tier 1 tower. So one of the weaknesses of Queen of Pain is that, sure, you're a great ganker, you can move away and gank, but you don't really protect your towers that well. You're not actually an insane pusher. You do have your AoEs to do it, but she has very, very limited mana. And her harass is actually not too effective anymore.
Gank in middle.
Well, it's going to be a temp here as let's see if they can pick them off. Though more is not going to be, I think they're waiting out for the duration of that ultimate, and they still have about 10-15 seconds to wait through. And the creep equilibrium, and look at this awareness coming out from 430, says, hey, I don't see any support on the bot lane. Might as well back off, at least for a little bit.
They just have great warding up right now. They know that their Orange isn't really going to gain Clockwork, because Clockwork is not an important hero to kill early. He's already level 7, he has his bottle, he has his magic stick. Killing him is not worth sacrificing a lot of free farm for the Alchemist.
It's not worth
and
the
Gyrocopter. Right. And they know that, and they have a ward up in middle. In case Queen of Pain tries to gank, she tried to use the invisibility rune from the fog, but it was spotted out and learning the aggression. They even saw the invisibility rune because of that observer ward on bottom. And then they have another ward on the bottom lane to protect the Gyrocopter. So they're very well prepared for any sort of aggression that Orange will throw out in this first nighttime. And I think that this is really Orange's time to shine before Gyrocopter gets a BKB, before Alchemist gets his mech or whatever mid-Alchemists get. And not being able to find any kills and actually being 4-1 or behind 4-1 in kills is really going to hurt Orange.
I mean, you were asking the question earlier and never got a chance to answer it. You were saying, hey, how can IG play from the behind with a lineup like this? And it seems like even though they had a lineup disadvantage in the laning stage, you actually handled themselves quite okay. Now here's a big issue. KYXY's farm is absolutely insane. He has a casual cloak, so he's not going to be dying to any kind of early game gank. YYF has rotated to the bot lane and did not gank successfully. 430 is also losing the mid lane quite handily here as Ohio camping over a double damage rune. Sure, they have 3 more kills. I just don't think the 3 more kills matter as much as the CS and as well as the level advantage that Orange is getting. If you look at the goal chart and experience chart, they're both very well in the favor of Orange Esport despite being down by 3 kills.
Yes, and the team fight is about equivalent for both teams. I say that IG has a slighter edge because of Overgrowth and Cog hookshot initiate, because Orange doesn't really have that great initiate. Sure, they have infest bombs, but that's not really the reliable initiate that you really want, just because of the tree and Overgrowth, of the living armor. He can negate a lot of the early bursts if Chuan on the tree and Protector is prepared, and not to mention they have defensive disruption. So if Orange tries to make a move on IG and IG is ready for it with defensive disrupts, with counter initiate, Clockwork Cogs, and hookshot and a living armor and overgrowth, Orange is just going to lose all these team fights if they have to play the aggressor. But again, they have Lone Druid. We haven't talked too much about him this game. He's just been free farming out top. Our lead last hitter right now, and it's pretty much on IG to go on Orange because of that bear. It's just going to be beating on the tower the whole time.
Well, IG's definitely not making any type of aggression. I do want to point out that living armor is fairly effective against bear for one reason. Last time I kept telling IG to split push, and they really couldn't do it as effectively because of living armor. Even though living armor somewhat nerfed at the early game, once we hit the mid game, Chuan's gonna hit level 7, and these tier 1 towers normally falls to the bear very easily. Will be mostly at full HP. In fact, they are mostly all at full HP right now. That tier 1 up top should have been suffering a ton more damage. Should have been actually down by now. Glyph and living armor just being thrown as well as a rocket. I think IG says, hey man, we just hold on to our Oliver early tower and we beat you late. And Gyrocopter, definitely one of the most dangerous late game hero, especially against some sort of a double melee core lineup featuring the Lone Druid as well as the Lifestealer. Turn up or down? Okay. You mean...
Yeah. So, again, we have seen a fantastic reaction from IG to the lanes, and Orange really haven't rotated that much. We see the two supporters attempt to go smoke gank on middle, but IG really has the better rotation. Shadow Demon coming up top once to save YYF and attempt to kill the Lone Druid, and then YYF counter ganking bottom lane. That really sealed the deal for the first 10 minutes of the game and put IG at much better of an advantage than I expected from the early game laning phase.
Yeah, as you said, the passivity of this particular game has really given the advantage to IG in my opinion as well. It's particularly the supports. You can see Treant Protector, he's actually level 6. We'll be hitting level 7 quite soon. And when you get such a kind of an intimidating ultimate, it doesn't do too much damage, but the AoE disruption that it does is just absolutely annoying to a hero like Lifestealer. I think if you hit level 6 on Treant before the 15-minute mark, you're definitely already doing a very good job. You're on time. And of course, 4D on the mid lane will be working towards that mech. Going for a buckler first, I do believe you should always generally go buckler first, simply because it's a little bit more useful as an item. You can pop it on the creep wave, give it a little bit more push, give it a little bit more oomph. As you do see the bear constantly trying to work on that tier 1 tower. Guess what? Living armor. Just bring it back to full HP. Constantly.
Yeah, and IG's gonna have a very easy time surviving through the fights, and the longer the fight goes, I think the better it is for IG, simply because of the tools available in their arsenal. And Orange is actually smoke ganking mid right now with 3 of their heroes, including the Lifestealer.
Well, let's see if they can find any pickoff. Of course, the initiation range of this particular lineup is absolutely insane. They're going to focus on 430. He does have the buckler. Let's see if his ultimate's going to be running out. It's going to be okay for a bit. He's going to throw out a stun. The living armor pretty much out right now. Every single nuke going onto the Alchemist. Defensive disruption comes in, and look at how low these two supports are. Hook in. That's going to be a 2-man cog. Overgrowth. It's going to come through as well. They're going to focus on Ohio. Ohio down to about a quarter. About to go down. Infest back out into Mushi. It's going to be blinking back out the bus home. And Mushi will make it through, but that was a 4-man gank against an Alchemist. They got him, but a really, really smart rotation, the one that you've been praising throughout this entire game. They were able to, well, at least win that engagement. Tier 1 tower not going down. Again, very much so thanks to living armor. Holy crap, this spell still every bit insane as we thought it was.
And yeah, the two main important heroes that Orange wants to kill, Alchemist and the Gyrocopter, they would just went like pure tank builds. Alchemist with the Buckler Rush and the Magic Wand, and then Gyrocopter with the early Ring of Basilius for the extra armor. Bracer into Ogre Club. They just have a ton of HP and can survive long enough for them to react. And if Orange choose to focus one of these high priority heroes, namely the Alchemist and the Gyrocopter, they're going to suffer heavy losses in the meantime.
Yeah, you expect this particular lineup to really lack the damage when you have supports like Shadow Demon and Treant Projector. You're not boasting a ton of damage, but Clockwork, pretty decent damage early on. That Gyrocopter, insane damage. We didn't even need to show up in the last fight. And of course, Alchemist with things like Acid Spray and Nuke. You do actually hurt quite a bit, especially against the squishies such as Queen of Pain as well as Crystal Maiden. So IG holding on quite okay. What about the mid-game transition? You talked about the team fight a little bit. That's going to be favoring IG just on hero potential alone. Do you think if this game slowly goes into the mid-game, even though, look at the Queen of Pain deny, look at the Lone Druid deny, does those numbers actually matter if you can't get the kills, if you can't get the tower kills?
I think that their lead isn't enough right now. Sure, they kind of won the first 5 minutes of the game just by outlasting them, but the advantage is definitely in IG's favor right now. Lone Druid hasn't been able to push any towers down right now. They haven't killed or they haven't killed Gyrocopter and Alchemist enough times. They're both 0 and 1, but they still got their farm and they still perform fantastically in lane, and winning their triple lane, I think, and just really sealed the deal for them.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. How odd is it for both casters to say, hey man, IG is ahead when Orange is up by 1500 gold? So also a chunk of EXP. They're going to try to work on multiple towers. Glyph is going to be used on the tier 1 bot. The big difference this here is going to be Glyph. Multiple TPs comes on. They're going to get a tier 1. I do believe Faith is going to be the sacrificial bait. Or will he's running to the left, and with the breach of speed and arcane boots now already up on the SC. Remember that he got a triple kill in the beginning of the game? He should be okay. No, Mushi rotates in. Any TP out on Faith? Yeah, no, I don't think he's going to make it back home, but I think it's well worth it as he even spent a ton of his gold buying a Sentry and an Observer Ward. They got a tier 1 for exchange of a support. 430 though, need to back out. The saving grace.
And the Lone Druid had to rotate too.
Yeah, the Lone Druid had to rotate. The tier 1 up top, very healthy thanks to Living Armor. Tier 1 mid getting healed up as well. Queen of Pain going to be rotating in, chasing for Chuan, who is going to be absolutely fine. I do want to mention that, of course, Shadow Demon did get a streak early on. And when you get a streak and you die, you give away a ton of gold to the enemy heroes.
Oh, you're going to see a hook shot from YYF.
Well, they do see Mushi from behind. I don't think they have enough nuke to actually kill him, unless you have a Alchemist charge up stun. But really, they don't need to force any offense. Orange Esport is built as a lineup to snowball and get a ton of kills and a ton of tower kills. Queen of Pain on charge of the kills, and of course Lone Druid in charge of the towers. They haven't got much of anything because of Living Armor. This spell is absolutely insane.
Yeah, and this, I mean, sure, Orange is ahead up in kills, but they had to put 5 heroes down there. They didn't even deny the tower, and they only got 1 Shadow Demon out of it. They weren't able to put enough pressure out on a T1 tower. It's going to be full HP very soon due to Living Armor. I'm checking the HP on all 3 of the towers, and they are all 80% plus.
Yeah,
and if you can't get early towers with Lone Druid, his effectiveness diminishes a lot. And especially with the armor nerf, Maelstrom is not the best for sieging towers this early.
Yeah, as much as it doesn't seem like it, Lone Druid is definitely a snowball hero. He just snowballs off tower kills instead of hero kills. And he's going back on the top lane, working on it. There's even a siege creep, but tower's back to full HP. Alright, man. This is the defense of the Ancients, and IG is, I guess, making it interesting.
And checking the XP in the gold graph, we see the XP around 3,100 or 3,200-ish in favor of Orange, and the gold graph about 1,100 in favor of Orange. But keep in mind that IG is actually up 1 tower too, so the gold difference is pretty much is much bigger than it sounds like.
Yeah, it actually is. I mean, we've been saying the denies, we've been saying the last set. Orange is, for the most part, farming it a lot better. And to be honest,
but look at these stacks right now.
Well, the stacks are not being claimed. In fact, 430 is slowly working on them. BKB is now finished on Zoe. So I think now with the finished BKB and a finished mech, I think IG should start looking to push a little bit more aggressively. Tier 1 siege up top, and of course YYF will try his best to draw these creeps off the tower, and then they'll drop the Living Armor. So you don't want to drop the Living Armor when they creep wave charge at you, because you'll lose all those damage block instances basically immediately. But you draw them off first, and then the heal will remain. The damage block will remain. IG playing rather well.
Yeah, Gyrocopter has BKB now, and this may be the time. Oh, Mushi on bottom.
He's got a double damage, but not going to make the dive, recognizing that there is a BKB now available. If we could hand it back to Bruno and James, and let's see what they think about this particular game. It's quite slow in the beginning, and but I feel like this particular lineup, if it goes late enough, Orange Esport has a hero to take it fairly late with Lifestealer and Lone Druid. Bruno, James, any particular dot on that comment?
Hopefully I've unmuted us because Kawa's not here. So
what the hell is Kawa doing?
I've done the buttons, but Bruno?
Maybe I can. I don't know if I'm being heard. There was a dead. Queen of Pain just was jumped by 2 guys there. However, I think Quanti Govlak said it once. He doesn't like how other teams play tree in general. I think IG is playing tree spectacularly well. They know that they have to survive this early disadvantageous moment, and they're doing it very, very well by making it really, really hard to dive. Of course, they've killed a couple of IG's heroes, but every kill costs Orange a lot. And when they try to push, that's really important. That Lone Druid trying to get the pushes happening on the top lane, he just can't, because Living Armor is there, tower at full health. Pure map control domination. If you keep your towers alive, you can control the map, and if you can't control the map, eventually you get ahead in gold and experience.
Yeah, and for me, I'm actually curious. You know, Mushi, he's gone for the BKB. I would have liked to seen him be able to go more aggressive. He did really well in his lane in terms of last hits and denies. Hasn't rotated much, hasn't fought much, and now he's up against a Gyro with a BKB. So not sure what Mushi's game plan is outside of after the BKB, but he really needs to be a big impact hero, so we'll see if he can actually do that.
Well, we'll see if the BKB is going to be in effect, but yeah, I just want to reiterate and echo on Bruno's point. This living armor really allows IG to split the map open. You see that 3-4 man smoke bait behind Zoe. You normally can't make that bait against a lone druid, because if you do make that bait, you lose a tower, particularly that tier 1 tower on the bot lane. We'll see a TP coming in very soon, or will it? A glyph comes up, living armor with glyph. Yes, it will heal through the glyph, and it's just absolutely so annoying for people to deal with. They have glyph, and I do believe that is going to be the first tower for Orange Esports. We're 21 minutes in, and they just got a tier 1 tower trade featuring Lone Druid, a Lifestealer. I mean, I think we said it enough. IG is protecting your towers quite well.
Yeah, even trades I think at this moment are pretty good for IG. Personally, I wouldn't have traded that T1 for that T1 just because IG needs their jungle a lot more than Orange does because of the constant stacking and Alchemist and Gyrocopter scaling much better with items. But again, they're continuing the pressure up top, bringing the fight to Orange, and in the 5-on-5 man fight, I think Joe's BKB is going to be a pain in the butt.
Trying to backstab, but he's got to be very careful. He's going to go right on Faith. Faith, any self-disrupt. Nice call gag. Overgrowth's going to be used as well. Zoe already has that living armor on top. Call down's going to fly through. His sun's going to go up. Ohio actually go into the bear. Got to call that bear back. Bear very low as well. Very awkward team fight here for both teams, as there's a big patch of trees on the way. YYF not going to look for that hook in. But I think if you're IG, you could actually back off. They're thinking about going in further as Ferrari charging him for a stun. It's going to fly through a KYXY. He's down to about half HP. Really can't make that kill. And Ferrari out of his ultimate. Got to back off. Popping the mech. Zoe has a BKB as well. They're going to focus on Crystal Maiden. Macro Power comes out here from Extinct as well. YY still so danky. Crystal Maiden, or Mushi's going to come in with the ultimate. Going to get at least one kill. Blink forward. The stun's going to follow through. And they're trying to man up against Mushi. They are going to get the kill. I think 430. Wow, beautiful play. Just using the non-ultimate form. Now we'll go into the ultimate form. Meanwhile, up north here, Zoe with the BKB still very survivable. This team fight is just so handily being won by IG. And now, it's a sustain. It's just so much HP, so much tank. And they're going to go right back here, Ohio. Nice dodge on the stun, but this tier 2 tower is going to be going down as well. IG convincing victory right now. And this gold chart should be reflecting as it does.
I think the two main things that won in that fight is firstly the mech by Ferrari. He was tanking the tower and he was under a lot of pressure from Orange, but living armor plus mech, he just is almost invincible, and him surviving and then turning around killing Mushi because he survived was a really big deal. Also, they're doing such a good job at controlling the Lifestealer. Lifestealer usually able to pick off of a support very early into the fight, but they had the Cog to trap him in, they had the Overgrowth doing the root, they had the call down slow to try and control him, Demonic Purge. They had so many different ways to control this Lifestealer, and even though he's decently farmed, phase drums and half of his armlet, almost actually is 3/4 of his armlet, he can't really do that much. He can't kill anyone.
Yeah, it's fair to say that both Queen of Pain and Lifestealer is only their true source of damage. Yeah, sure, you have a bear, you have some decent nukes from your supports, but for the most part, they just don't do enough by themselves. And when your Lifestealer gets so controlled like this, it doesn't matter that your Lone Druid has so much CS and so much farm. The fact remains is that IG has lost a single tower. Meanwhile, they have gotten 3 of their own, and I think they're setting up shop mid and start maybe thinking about taking that tier 1 mid as well. Mushi has, to me, has been a non-factor, right? He's won the lane, but he's 1-2-1 as a Queen of Pain. Not to say that Mushi's playing very poorly, but as much as IG lost to Na'Vi thanks to the tree pick, they're doing it right now against Orange Esports.
He can't do anything versus the BKB Gyrocopter, and I think this is the main problem. They really can't do anything versus him. They have living armor to put it on him before the BKB. They have so many tools to control the Nakes, and outside that, they really don't have any physical damage, especially with the Maelstrom on the Lone Druid, and they don't have any mech for teamfight sustainability. It's just, what do you do versus? He's going to have a Butterfly very soon, and sure, the BKB has Queen of Pain, but it's just a much bigger deal to have it on the Gyrocopter than the Queen of Pain.
Though for Orange Esports, I think they're doing a very good job of trading towers. I don't think IG should be trading, right? It's like you said, they're actually stronger in these team fights. They have living armor. They should be taking towers cleanly. It shouldn't be even trade, but despite of that, Orange Esports taking advantage of their heroes.
The Rocket and a Roshan.
Well, they do have the medallion speed things up, but I don't think you would take the Roshan fight, not against a Clockwork. Of course, they know that the Gyrocopter is not there. He TP up to the top lane, and that's what elicited the go here for Orange Esports. But really, it's time to back out here. 430 walking right into charge up stun. Mushi thought he was safe, but he does have the Ice Pad backing him. The Clockwork Hook comes in, and he just melts. Meanwhile, though, Aegis gets picked up here, but these guys are absolutely trapped. KYXY trying to run the Lifestealer out. The Cog's going to come right in. And I think if you're Lifestealer, you come out and try to man fight this one. Macro Power comes in as well. You're going to focus on KYXY. He dies. He's going to be coming back in human form. Huge ultimate coming out from Mushi, and everybody's fairly low. Zoe pops BKB way too late, and I think he's going to go down as a result. Ice Path not going to land. Armor toggling, and they are finally going to get 1 kill. A second kill as well. Very beautiful play from Orange Esports. Haste Rune is going to get secured by Mushi, or when he sees it. But I thought IG was going to win that team fight a lot harder than they did.
Good buyback from Mushi there.
Really good
absolutely
buyback.
Essential.
But to me, it was a very slow BKB usage from the Gyrocopter. He used the BKB after he took all of the magical damage, and he used it to run. So that's definitely not how you want to take that fight if you are IG.
And the Aegis looks like it was picked up by KYXY, but immediately lost. Still, very good fight for Orange there. Exactly what they needed to get back in this game. Checking out the XP and the gold graph. XP still goes in favor of Orange, about 3,300 after that fight. And gold just barely in favor of Orange, around 500, even though they are way down in towers.
Right. So, I mean, we were expecting that IG is going to win teamfight just simply because they have better teamfight heroes. And we saw Orange just win the teamfight. Because of that, how do you feel that this game's going to go? Want to take any bets in terms of who's going to take this game? It seems fairly even right now. With both teams having fairly good kind of late game implications.
I still think IG has the better edge. Again, Gyrocopter and Alchemist, they just scale way too well with items, and Alchemist can just farm out way too much. And Mushi, again, he hasn't had too much of impact. He has a gem right now, but in terms of just straight 5-on-5 man, IG has the edge right now. They've been doing a better job of stacking, of controlling the map, of pushing down towers, and controlling the Lifestealer.
Well, let's see if Lifestealer can get any bigger. Also, the bear has been starting to become scary and scarier as he's working on the Curious format. Smoke Egg for Orange Esports. Not going to find too much of anything. Are we going to see a DreamHack smoke? Which is, if you haven't been in DreamHack, you smoke for Ancient Camp. But no, it's not even stacked. So I think Orange Esports not going to find anything as they rotate into the enemy jungle.
Yeah, very safe play by IG here. We really haven't seen them die because they're out of position or they just get ganked for solo kills, and they're just so prepared for the constant aggression from Orange. And Orange really has the lineup that they need to find a lot of kills in this mid game. Yep. And we see it ping out. Mushi has a gem right now, most likely for the Treant Protector, but it was picked up right before the Shadow Blade pickup on Ferrari on that Alchemist. Yeah,
the invisibility is not going to be too effective, but more importantly, the fact that there is the map control that IG, like you praised, they are doing a very good job getting sight all over the place. This is going to be helpful in that. Mushi, though, definitely did not like the fact that he got stunned up by a Invis Alchemist stun early on, so this should kind of mitigate that. Meanwhile, we do see a counter smoke from IG, and they're looking for a pickoff. If they do find KYXY, they definitely get a tier 2, but KYXY just so damn tanky. He's going to transform back to a level 3 true form now, or druid form, and he should be surviving long enough against this gank, especially with 35 armor available on this hero.
I think the Curious pickup is very necessary for him. The Casual Cloak, I don't think is that big of a deal. They don't have that much magic damage. They have Gyrocopter Call Down, but other than that, it's like Acid Spray, Leech Seed. They're all very slow damage, and like the Rocket from the Clockwork, very long cooldown too. So there's not the huge burst from Queen of Pain or possibly even Crystal Maiden on the side of Orange, and perhaps that gold could have been used for something else.
Yep. Butterfly now finisher on Zoe. A couple key items is going to be finished or finishing very quickly on IG. I just checked on Shadow Demon's gold, sitting about 1700. If he gets a 4-staff, Lifestealer is going to have a big issue. Meanwhile, Clockwork about 700 away from his own 4-staff. So when double force is up, Lone Druid and as well as the Lifestealer is going to have a ton of issue chasing to do sustained damage throughout the team fight. Tier 2 being under siege, there is a big creep wave going towards a Radiant Tier 2. So IG shouldn't siege for too long. They're going to probably try one more time. If it doesn't work out, they'll just TP back and farm. No, Zoe says, man, let's get these creeps bot.
And because of the last fight, I think they're standing a little bit like behind right now just because Gyrocopter did get bursted down. But in theory, it should be pretty easy for him to pop his BKB. You can use it through use it through Root, you can use it through Open Wound, Frostbite. The only thing that can really stop you right now is the Scythe of Vice or the Ice Path from the Jakiro. And the Ice Path from Jakiro is only around 2-second duration. So unless they can do a heavy amount of damage to him during the... Ooh, there's no gem there. Where's Mushi?
The sun's going to come around the middle against KYXY. Clockwork Hook against 2 supports. Great play, but where's the follow-up damage? Trying to get a solo kill against Net. Meanwhile, they're focusing on KYXY. It's not going to be enough. Mech's going to going to be used. 430 does not have a single stun. He's going to be charging up a second one, but you just do not go on KYXY. Zoe has already used the BKB in a jungle, or will they have enough? I think they will. KYXY is going to go down to the butterfly damage output of Zoe. Where was Queen of Pain? Heard of ultimate being used, but, well, she wasn't in the middle of the team fight. Rocket's not...
She used it on Clockwork.
Ah, I see. Meanwhile, Ohio, well, going to rage and TP out.
So good team fight for Orange here. Again, Mushi should have been there with a gem, and they went on KYXY in an unfavorable position. His support scrambled to support him and got caught by the Clockwork. Excellent initiation by YYF there. I actually thought he was completely dead. I heard the Queen of Pain Sonic Wave and was watching KYXY, but well played by IG there. And I mean, they're taking these team fights pretty convincingly,
and
aside from the Roshan one.
Yeah, it's just doing so much work. 430 charging up a stun. Clockwork Hook. What a beautiful chain stun here, and they are going to bring him down. My goodness, IG playing like they were the TI2 champions. Mushi TPing back in. Rocket's going to give some psych, and Crystal Maid and Jakiro talked about their mobility, talked about the range. Man, they need every bit of it. Tier 2
nice try
to
to
go down.
the tower there.
I'm just absolutely impressed with the way that they initiate on Ohio. 430 running up, doesn't care about the tower at all. It's going to force a BKB usage from Mushi. No, they don't make that go. And Tier 3 suddenly, Orange Esport in big trouble.
Yeah, that was great coordination by IG there. Had he not hookshot, usually you just rage dodge the stun and just reset the fight there. But with that just brief stun from the hookshot, they were able to burst the Life Stealer down. Again, Life Stealer not too much of a factor as he usually is, because the Living Armor just stymies a lot of his early aggression, and they have so many tools to deal with him. I like the draft from IG. You can really tell that they know how to handle a Life Stealer. Not only just the hero picks, but their usage of their heroes is just incredible.
Every stage of the game, the laning stage, you saw them kill that particular lane once or twice. There's that force staff number 1 being finisher on the Clockwork, and force staff number 2 should come quite quickly on Faith as well. Meanwhile, Treant Protector is going to finish a Medallion Courage. That's definitely another item. Good against the Lone Druid Bear, good against Lifestealer himself. Tier 1 tower going back to full HP, because Chuan, has he died? He has not died a single time this game. 1-0 and 5. Beautiful play from Chuan.
Yeah, and it's usually pretty difficult to say, oh man, this is fantastic Treant play, but he just has really good living armors. He keeps all the towers up. He doesn't die in the fights. He almost always overgrowths when the Life Stealer is raged, and just excellent play by him. Some people say he doesn't have a skill cap, but Chuan is playing fantastically. So
where does Orange Esport go from here? They have the items. They have a
I think what they need to do is split push a little bit more and try and secure the next Roshan. We saw them secure that first Roshan, and if they can do that again, they can try and farm a little bit of items and overwhelm them, perhaps an Abyssal Blade on the Life Stealer, so they can actually shut down this Gyrocopter. Again, they have nothing for him during BKB. I mean, they have Root, but he'll still get almost all of his flax off. And again, no Scythe of Vice yet on Mushi. I see a
Clockwork Hook's going to come through to fall off from the mid lane here, and KYXY all away from home, and he's going to go down quite easily. Ice Path not really doing too much, and well, there's that one free kill. I do believe Orange Esport is going to lose that Rex. I do believe split push is the answer, but perhaps not the best answer, because Living Armor is definitely going to slow down that split push, and they just don't have that time. IG Ferrari, or maybe Sending, it's going to just walk straight up, and he's been walking straight up that cliff like he just doesn't care. With Mech, as well as Plate Mail now on him, look at how tanky he is, in conjunction with his crazy regen, as well as his big HP gain in his ultimate form.
So Bear down for 40 seconds. He does have his Bear up in case he decides to buy back. He does have enough gold for it right now, and I think if he doesn't, IG will just take a free T3 here.
Yeah, T3 is being somewhat slow siege. Lifestealer is trying to backstab. I think they really need to fight with their Bear, and they're doing a very good job delaying it, using the Glyph, dropping out a couple of AoE spells, Screen and Pain on the south, trying to come in and out of that team fight, threatening to pop that BKB, blinking back in, and they won't actually delay long enough till the Bear comes back alive. This should be a very interesting team fight. You still have Ohio just waiting on the wing, threatening to come in.
I like how Joe finally moved to the top of the hill. If he moved to the top of the hill earlier, I think they could have had that T3 down a little bit earlier and gotten some damage on the racks. But regardless, KYXY is up, and ooh, are they going to scout Ohio out here?
Ohio says, man, I don't want to take a fight against a Butterfly BKB. And now a Reaver almost finished Satanic on Gyrocopter. I say that if Gyro finishes the Satanic, you're not going to kill him this game. With Living Armor, with things like 2 Force Staff, Defensive Disrupt, of course, his own BKB, and Butterfly, how do you kill this guy?
I think, again, they need Butterfly, they need an MKB up on the bear, and they need Scythe of Vice. That's a lot of farm for Orange, but I think they can delay it in a fight of even positioning. I think that Orange won't fare that badly, but if IG go into the Roshan pit, I think Orange can contest them there just like they did last time, or if IG chooses to push a T3. So IG knows that they're stronger right now, but are they strong enough to take a fight in an unfavorable positioning scenario? We'll see.
Oh wow, the bear just went up the hill and there is no summon for a full 1 minute. I'm not sure whether IG is aware of this. They should be aware of it because when the Lone Tree came back alive, he had to resummon the bear, and that was the second bear kill. So that could be just straight up the easiest racks that IG is going to claim. They're going to claim a Roshan as well. Meanwhile, Queen of Pain trying to split push mid, but they have Glyph. The tower still at full HP. The Rocket's going to slow down this particular push. And of course, Chuan, once that creep wave is off the tower, he's going to start healing it. Chuan TB's in, forces out the Queen of Pain away from the tower, and the Living Armor should bring a tower back up. So Asia's up now on the Gyrocopter. And I think they just take racks. There is no bear resummon for 30 more seconds.
I think it's just poor awareness by KYXY. They went on him once over here with the Shadowblade Alchemist when Mushi wasn't there, and they just killed him almost in the exact same place. And you cannot have that happen as a Lone Druid, and you are just absolutely useless without your bear. Looks like he'll be down for yet another 10 seconds. No Glyph up for Orange, but he should have it just after the start of this fight.
Yeah, there's some couple spells like Ice Path, Nova to slow down this push, but you're not slowing down Zoe, who had to Aegis now. Satanic should be flying through right now. He even have a Centaur to give him a little bit of more attack speed. There you go, Satanic is going to be delivering. Zoe standing in the front line, he just doesn't care. Drops the call down, now be focusing on the bear. If this bear is dead, there's just no way. Well, they just lost KYXY. BKB coming out from Mushi, but the Overgrowth will lock in place, and the right click are just so much. Ohio says, I'm going home, guys. A celebratory smoke being used, and I'm pretty sure the GG call is coming out anytime soon from Orange Esport.
Yeah, and again, BKB is usually pretty good on Queen of Pain, but their arsenal of spells to deal with BKB is just incredible. Meanwhile, on the flip side, Orange can't do anything versus Zoe. They tried to throw everything at him. He had the Living Armor, but he didn't even need to pop BKB.
Yeah.
He's just like, whatever, I'll just flag. Kills Crystal Maiden, almost kill Jakiro during my flag while I just kill your Rex, no problem.
Well, we were saying that IG not playing at the top for him. A ton of us at the BTS house says, hey man, Orange is going to take this series.
I really don't see
easy.
why IG was an underdog. They just have incredible amounts of skill, and the potential of their team is just incredible.
To me, this was their best game in the entire tournament. We have not seen them play with this much coordination, with this much kind of strategy well thought out. If this is the IG that we're looking at, how far do they go in this tournament? Can they beat Orange Esport?
I mean, they could definitely beat Orange Esport if they play like that again. I don't think Orange played particularly poorly. I think the draft of IG and just the early game play was just superior. And if they play well, Orange, even if they play well, they can't win the game.
Yeah. So it was just a draft defeat, you think?
It was a draft defeat, and yeah, they just used Treant Protector so effectively to babysit their relatively weak lanes. Clockwork not at an advantage versus Lone Druid. Alchemist not at an advantage versus Alchemist or versus Queen of Pain. And Gyrocopter not at an advantage with the Treant in your lane. But they managed to not die consistently, and they actually were ahead 4-1 in kills in the early game. And if you can get through that rough early game phase, get BKB on Gyrocopter, get that mech up on Alchemist, and just snowball and push all your towers down, you just win the game. That's exactly what IG did.
Well, before we hand it back to Bruno and James, quick yes/no question here for Merlini. Are they going to ban out Treant Protector 1-0-7?
I say yes.
You say yes. All right, let's get it back to Bruno and James.
Thanks, Lumi and Merlini. So I've got my points I want to complain about.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, right. So you got all the lanes. Technically, we're going in favor of Orange. As far as farm goes, right? So I'm like, okay, this is good. But what they wanted to do, obviously, with the Lone Druid was take the tier 1 top.
Right.
So you can then rotate the Lone Druid with your team, get more towers. Awesome. Because they weren't able to get towers, I don't even think they had a mech by the end of the game. And taking towers is really nice, so your Jakiro can actually pick up a mech. And obviously you're up against an Alchemist that didn't actually go Greevil's Greed. It was like 4-4-0-1 that was able to get a mech. Now, Mushi was the person that I was like, you're doing so well. Why are you going BKB?
I mean, he was supposed to do well in the lane, of course.
Yeah, of course.
As an alchemist, he had whatever he wanted.
But like the BKB, I was just like, I don't understand this pick, right? If you're fighting with a lifestealer and a lone druid, this is your front line, okay? It's like, boom, this is your front line. Like, what are you worried about? Okay, cooldown, sure, that's a bit of damage, but fact is, you shouldn't really be in it. And if your lifestealer and lone druid are putting out the pressure, you should know where to go otherwise. And Overgrowth goes through BKB if you pop it first. And then you cast Overgrowth second, and also Shadow Demon as well, Purge, right? There were so many times that Mushi was like, this close to killing people, and I was like, if he fucking got an Orchid, and when I am going aggressive, right, and he was like, I'm going down to our tri lane that lost a couple of kills, but I'm going to get my Orchid before Gyro gets his BKB.
Right.
Okay? Then you can actually kill the Gyro. Yes. After the BKB, sure, you might be able to pick up a support, but even the Alchemist, you know, or the or Clockwork, I just think if he had an Orchid and they took team fights a little bit more aggressively earlier and kind of ignored the lone druid for a little bit, that could have been huge for Orange. And the fact that they didn't, that BKB did nothing.
Yes.
Did absolutely nothing.
The thing is, I think Orange was forced into going BKB on Queen of Pain, if only because as strong as the Lifestealer and Lone Druid combo is, and this is like the two big fat frontline heroes, there were two problems with them. First of all, they didn't have any kind of initiation. You can say, yeah, I can send the Vera's initiation, but it's not the same as having a clock that can jump on you and just nullify your support. So Mushi has to jump.
You don't need the, like, you're not necessarily looking for the initiation, like, all the time. You're looking to bring a team to a tower and take the tower with the lone druid.
But every time they did that, Clock would jump on the support, kill the support. There will be like...
Clock jumps on supports, Orchid the motherfucker. Yeah. Like, what up, bitch? No cogs.
Then the other rest of the team comes and you're not having... I mean, I understand where you're going to. Having more damage, having a way to actually bring something more to the table.
He missed like so many solo kills, like 1v1, just because there was like, even after the scream, there was like...
one sliver of little bit of health.
And he's running out of mana. Mana regen.
Yeah.
I'm staying with my point, man.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that Orchid thing.
Yeah.
Just because they needed to silence the Treant Protector or the Shadow Demon, or just try and find
even the Alchemist when he's charging up a stun. And he had Gem as well, right? So it's like if you had Gem Orchid, you're still pretty safe against an Alchemist. It's like if you see an Alchemist coming in, you should be able to get away.
IG's teamfight just went perfectly well. Like they executed the way they wanted to every single time. They had nothing to disrupt the teamfight, stop them from getting off the key Overgrowth, defensive disrupt, demonic purge on the rage. If they could kill somebody during the rage, the teamfights would have gone a lot differently. But they always just kited him a silence or two, or even an AoE silence, or just different draft overall would have helped a lot.
Yep.
It's also good to notice how strong Living Armor is against heroes like Knights and Lone Druid, that the only way they have to deal damage is right-clicking you. Some people, I always joke that some people say that Bloodseeker is a weak hero because you can TP out of whatever he tries to do for you. Yeah. And Lifestealer is the same, in a way. The only thing is that, of course, he can deal damage probably faster than Bloodseeker. But in this case, with the Living Armor, you just pop it there, and the next 7 hits that you do will just do 80 less damage, which nullifies whatever damage you can get from an armlet or even fist.
Yeah, and one of the other things about Treant Protector we should mention, there was a dive on the gyrocopter on the bottom lane.
Yeah, at the beginning
of the game. It was just like, okay, he's got 9 charges on Magic Wand.
Right.
Right, he had just Living Armor, was about to wear off,
and then Leech Seed
comes in, ticks 3 times,
he's pretty much
and got off. So, like, you know, Chom played amazing. He was on point with his Living Armors. He was on point with the Leech Seeds in the lane, because they didn't want to. If they lost that kill, if they gave away that kill, that BKB would have been delayed a little bit. But it does matter, you know what I mean? So, it was pretty impressive how Treant. It doesn't look like he contributes. But when
it does.
Yeah, but like how he does when he does as well is pretty amazing, and he even was doing some nice right-click damage as well in some of the team fights when he was in the cogs with his teammate against one as well. So pretty amazing play by IG, but I don't feel that Orange are out of this by any means. I do feel that as they mentioned, there probably might be a Treant ban. But I don't feel they were really outdrafted. I just felt like they didn't get what they wanted.
No,
they didn't utilize their start well enough.
We saw at the beginning there were 2 kills. The gyrocopter escape that you mentioned and the Lifestealer kill that they actually killed Gyro just at the beginning of the game, but they first killed the Lifestealer. Those things in many other circumstances would have gone in Orange's way, and if they got control of that tri-lane, Lone Druid was having like a field day in his lane, and Queen of Pain was dominating. Just maybe those two things would have set the pace of the game entirely different.
And to get control of the tri-lane, bring down your quap, get kills.
Right.
But unfortunately it didn't happen. So either way, game 1 goes towards Invictus Gaming, and we're going to have game 2 starting up pretty soon. But I know that Kawa, he's super excited. He's like, when do I get to press the add button? Right, Kawa? Do you want to press it now, or later? What? Okay, you were much more excited. You don't press the add button.
So wow.
Oh, okay, we don't run ads. Okay. Well, anyway, guys, we're going to be coming back after the short break with game 2 of IG versus Orange in the Alienware Cup. See you in just a moment.